The breath is always with you. From the moment you're born to the moment you leave, it never abandons you. And yet, most people go through their entire lives without ever truly using it. That's the paradox. The most powerful tool for peace, clarity, and emotional stability is already inside you, working every second, and still, it's ignored. Think about the last time you felt anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally flooded. Your thoughts were racing, your body felt tense, and everything seemed urgent. Now ask yourself something simple. How was your breathing in that moment? Shallow, fast, disconnected, almost as if your body was preparing for danger even though no real threat was present. That's not a coincidence. Your breath is the fastest bridge between your mind and your nervous system. Change the breath and the state changes with it. Modern life constantly puts us in a low-level fight-or-flight mode. Deadlines, notifications, social pressure, financial worries. Your body doesn't differentiate between a physical threat and psychological stress. It reacts the same way. Tight chest, raised shoulders, short breaths. Over time, this becomes your default state. You're not calm and then stressed. You're stressed and occasionally distracted from it. Here's where breath becomes revolutionary. Not mystical, not complicated, but practical. When you slow your breathing consciously, you send a direct signal to your nervous system that you are safe. Not later, not eventually, immediately. The body listens before the mind does. That's why breathing works even when logic fails. You've probably experienced this without realizing it. A deep sigh after a long day, that involuntary breath you take after crying, the slow inhale before delivering difficult news. Those moments bring relief because they reset your internal state. Breath is regulation. Breath is grounding. Breath is permission for the body to stand down. Ancient traditions understood this deeply. They didn't treat breath as a background function, but as a gateway, a doorway into stillness. But you don't need ancient language to feel its effect. Try this simple observation. When you're calm, your breath is slow and deep. When you're anxious, it's fast and shallow. Now reverse it. Slow the breath deliberately, and calm follows, not because you forced it, but because your system reorganized itself. The reason breathing is called the key to instant peace is because it bypasses resistance. You don't need to fix your life to feel better. You don't need to solve every problem. You just need to change the signal your body is sending to itself, and breath is that signal. Most people try to think their way out of stress. They analyze, they replay, they rationalize. But stress isn't a thinking problem, it's a physiological one. And physiology responds to rhythm, not arguments. Breath is rhythm. If this already resonates with you, take a moment now to support the channel by subscribing and leaving a like. It allows content like this to keep reaching people who are quietly searching for peace without knowing where to look. What makes breath so powerful is that it anchors you to the present. Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. Breath lives now. When you bring attention to it, you exit mental time travel and return to the body. And the body, when given safety, naturally moves toward balance. This isn't about forcing calm or suppressing emotions. It's about creating space for them to pass without overwhelming you. Breath doesn't eliminate emotions. It gives them room to move through instead of getting stuck.
Most people don't realize that they are breathing in a way that constantly tells the body to stay on alert. Even when nothing is wrong, the chest stays tight, the jaw clenched, the breath shallow. Over time, this becomes so normal that tension feels like your personality. Calm starts to feel unfamiliar, almost suspicious, and because it's unfamiliar, people don't trust it. Here's a powerful example. Have you ever noticed how children breathe when they're relaxed? Their belly rises and falls naturally. There's no effort, no control, just flow. Now compare that to an adult under stress. The breath barely reaches the chest. The body is rigid. Somewhere along the way, we learn to hold ourselves in, emotionally and physically, and breath was the first thing we restricted. This is why many people say, "I tried breathing exercises and they didn't work." What they often mean is, "I tried for a few seconds while still holding resistance everywhere else." Breath doesn't work as a trick. It works as a relationship. You don't dominate it, you cooperate with it. When you breathe slowly and deeply, especially through the nose, something remarkable happens inside the body. The vagus nerve, a major regulator of calm, is stimulated. Heart rate slows, muscles release, the mind follows. Not because you commanded it to, but because the body finally feels safe enough to let go. Peace isn't created, it's uncovered. Think about moments of instant calm you've experienced naturally, floating in water, watching waves, sitting quietly in nature. What do all these moments have in common? Rhythm. Slow, predictable rhythm. Your breath syncing with something steady. That's not accidental. The nervous system loves rhythm. Breath is the rhythm you can always access. There's also an emotional side to breathing that people rarely talk about. Emotions are energy in motion. When breath is restricted, emotions get trapped. That's why people who suppress their breathing often carry unresolved tension for years. Tight shoulders, chronic fatigue, a sense of emotional numbness. When breath opens, emotions move. Sometimes that means relief. Sometimes it means tears. Both are signs of regulation, not weakness. You might notice this if you practice slow breathing for a few minutes and suddenly feel sadness, gratitude, or even anger rise without a clear reason. That doesn't mean something went wrong. It means something finally had space to surface and leave. Breath doesn't judge what comes up. It allows it. This is also why breath brings clarity. When the body calms, mental noise reduces. You stop reacting and start perceiving. Problems that felt overwhelming become smaller, not because they disappeared, but because you're no longer inside them. Breath creates distance, and distance creates perspective. If at this point you're finding value in this message, this is a natural moment to pause and support the channel. Subscribe and leave a like. It helps this content reach others who may be silently struggling with stress, anxiety, or emotional overload. One of the biggest misconceptions about breathing for peace is the idea that it requires a perfect environment, silence, candles, a special posture. None of that is essential. You can regulate your breath in a meeting, in traffic, in a crowded room. Peace doesn't require escape, it requires awareness. A simple shift can change everything. Instead of breathing to calm down, breathe because you are allowing calm. Slow the inhale, lengthen the exhale slightly. Let the body feel that nothing is chasing it in this moment. That's often all it takes to interrupt anxiety before it spirals. Breath is not an escape from life. It's a way to meet life without being consumed by it.
At some point, when you stop treating breath as a technique and start treating it as an ally, peace stops feeling like something you have to chase. It becomes something you can return to again and again. Not perfectly, not permanently, but reliably. This is the real shift most people miss. Peace is not the absence of problems, it's the ability to stay present while problems exist, and breath is what anchors you there. When life throws uncertainty, conflict, or pressure at you, your first response doesn't have to be panic or mental overload. It can be awareness, a pause, a conscious breath that says to your body, "We are here. We are safe enough to respond."
Over time, this changes how you move through the world. You become less reactive, less pulled by every thought, less hijacked by every emotion, not because you became numb, but because you became regulated. You still feel deeply, but you don't drown in what you feel. Think about how many moments in life are lost because the body is tense and the mind is elsewhere. Conversations where you're physically present but mentally racing. Experiences that should feel meaningful but pass by unnoticed because you're stuck in your head. Breath brings you back into your body, and your body is where life is actually happening. This is why breath is so powerful for instant peace, not because it creates a permanent state of bliss, but because it gives you access to yourself in real time. Whenever you remember to breathe consciously, you interrupt the automatic patterns that keep you stressed, distracted, or overwhelmed. You reclaim choice. And here's something deeply important. Breathing consciously is an act of self-respect. It's a way of telling yourself, I matter enough to slow down. In a world that constantly demands more, faster, louder, choosing to breathe is choosing presence over performance. You don't need to breathe deeply all day. You don't need to control every inhale and exhale. All it takes is moments, before reacting, before speaking, before deciding. Those small pauses compound. They change how you relate to stress, to people, and to yourself. If you're listening to this and thinking, I don't have time for calm, that's usually the clearest sign that calm is exactly what's missing. Breath doesn't take time away from life. It gives time back by reducing the inner friction that makes everything feel harder than it needs to be. So the next time anxiety rises, don't ask, how do I fix this? Ask something simpler. Can I slow my breath right now? That question alone shifts your state, and from a calmer state, better answers naturally appear. If this message has helped you see your breath differently, take a moment to subscribe and leave a like. It supports this work and helps more people discover that peace doesn't require escape. It starts within the body they already inhabit. Remember this, your breath is always available. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't judge your thoughts. It meets you exactly where you are. And every time you return to it, you return to yourself. The breath is not just air moving in and out. It's the key to instant peace whenever you choose to use it.